Good morning, students. Today we are going to start the first chapter from our literature book. The name of the chapter is The Diamond Necklace, written by Guy de Maupassant. Before starting the summary of the chapter, I would like to tell you something about the author. He was a 19th century French author remembered as a master of the short story. He painted a fascinating picture of 19th century French life in his stories. He was born in the year of 1850 on 5th August and died in the year of 1893 on 6th July. He was a prolific writer. He published over 300 short stories and 6 novels. He actually died at a very young age. He was suffering from both physical and mental illness. So, this is what about Guy de Maupassant. Now, we're going to start the summary of the chapter. The main characters which are portrayed here are Madame Louiselle Mathilde, Madame Forester, and Mr. Louiselle. The story begins in that way. Actually, Madame Louiselle was a very beautiful woman, very pretty. So, she always dreamt of a very luxurious life, but she was born in a very middle class family where she could not fulfill all her desire of materialistic things. And unfortunately, she was also married off to a clerk who was working in the Ministry of Education. So you can understand that she was not at all happy with the marriage because of though Mr. Louisel was a very genuine person, a very good person, but he belongs to a middle class family. But Madame Louisel was not happy with it. She always desired for good clothes, good jewelry, and all, which she could not make. So, this is how the story starts. One day, her husband got an invitation from the office and he happily came to home and informed it to his wife. But Madame Louiselle was not at all happy. She started crying and she denied going in the ball invitation party. Why? What was the reason? The reason was she did not have good clothes. So, knowing it, Mr. Louisel promised her that he will buy her a gown. Knowing it, Madame Louisel said that she also needs jewelry. But Mr. Louisel was unable to give that. He had only money for giving a gown. So he advised her to take the jewelry from one of her friends. She thought of Madame Forestier. She went to her and asked for a set of jewelry. Madame Forestier happily gave it to her. On the day of the ball party, Madame Louiselle dressed herself very beautifully. She was looking extremely beautiful. They both joined the party, and what happened there? Everybody praised her, and she was overwhelmed. Whereas Mr. Louiselle was busy with having a good time with others and was having his drinks and all. This is how they enjoyed the party. And while they were coming back home, it was 4 a.m. in the morning. So they fetched a cab and they came back home. Upon reaching at home, Madame Louiselle noticed that the diamond necklace was not around her neck. It was a shocking time for her. Now Mr. Louisville went back to the places where they visited and they came. But he was failed. He did not get the necklace and unhappily came home and reported it to his wife that he did not get the necklace. Now Mr. Louisville, for the time being, gave an advice to his wife that to tell me Madam Forrester that she has given it for mending. By that time they will arrange. So when they went for looking for the or buying purchasing for the necklace, they visited many shops but they did not get that same kind of necklace, but suddenly they got one piece, and the price of that diamond necklace was huge, which they could not bear. So what they had to do for purchasing the necklace, they had to lose all their properties, all their belongings. They had to leave their house, they had to get a rental house, and then they um, they were not having money. They lost their all savings and all the money, everything. They had started living a miserable life. Madame Louiselle had to work day and night. There was no servant to help her. They rented a very small room, and their life was going very miserably. She became ugly. This is how miserably they had passed 10 years, losing all their belongings, property, and all, and health too. Madame Louiselle lost all her beauty, all her charm, and everything. One day, on one Sunday, she was returning back from work and suddenly she met with Madame Forrester. They greeted each other. Initially, Madame Forrester was unable to recognize her because she was extremely beautiful, but now she doesn't look good because of the stress and miseries she had to face during these long 10 years. And after that, they were exchanging words, they were exchanging their well-beings and all. Madame Louiselle thought to tell tell her the truth. When Madame Louiselle tell her the truth, the entire truth, Madame Forrester was shocked and felt very much upset because Madame Forrester gave the shocking news to Madame Louiselle that the necklace was not real diamond's necklace. It was an imitated necklace, and mm, she felt very, very, very uncomfortable and very sad to know about the truth. Madame Louiselle was broken, was collapsed, and she had nothing to say. She now realized what she had done, and this is how the story ends. So, by the story, we came to know that we should always be truthful. We should not have greed for materialistic things. One wrong decision can change our life entirely, can ruin our life. So, before doing anything and before having greed of materialistic things, we should think twice and thrice. Honesty is the best policy. If she could tell her at that time that she had lost it, and um, she could tell her the entire truth, she must not have lost all she and her husband lost. So, this is what the story is teaching us. Be truthful always and be happy whatever you have with you. Do not greed for materialistic things and try to be satisfied with whatever you have. Thank you. I hope you have understood, and if you have any query, please you can ask me anytime.